Want to score 99 percentile in CAT 2023? Watch this full video as the CAT topper with 100 percentile will share his strategy and tips to ace the exam.
Non-engineers and engineers, I think the biggest difference that I see is the engineers come from mathematical background, and they would have done a lot of math coursework in their school and also in their 11th and 12th, which some of the non-engineers would also have done, but on a broader perspective most of them wouldn't. So that would be the main difference between for non-engineers, and that would be where they would have to work a little bit more harder on maths than an engineer does. I think brushing up from basics would be a good start for that, because once you build up your basics, it's really easy to build upon that rather than trying to start from middle and go nowhere. And also in maths, I think even non-engineers would be able to manage certain topics, but there will be certain topics that would be hard for them, especially like geometry, since they would have not done that before. And another main difference I would see is if you look at a life of an engineer in the recent days, starting from 10th, there are a lot of competitive exams that they take, even to get into, like if you want to prepare for something in your 11th and 12th, so even to get into that there are competitive exams, and after your 12th there are competitive exams for IIT, NIT, BITS, and so on. So there goes a lot of test taking there, and most of the engineers would have been used to the concept of test taking and also the multiple choice questions, which might not be the case for non-engineers. um, since yeah, so how you can overcome that aspect is by focusing more on taking mock tests when you're preparing for CAT than an average engineer does, so that you get used to the concept of test taking and that environment, and so that you'll be able to overcome that fear of test taking before you go for your main exam. And also people science is something that is logical, right? So I think people who study science might have a logical frame of mind that can give them a little bit of edge when it comes to LRDI, but that doesn't isn't necessarily true, because I have seen people in IIT who struggle with LRDI as well. But that's also another difference that I see. And for non-engineers, if you are coming from backgrounds that involve a lot of English speaking or reading, so that is something that will help you out in terms of your uh, English section, and that is where you can edge out on the engineers. Something I have observed, and that has been true in my case as well, is that engineers tend to struggle with English. um, that's not true for everyone, but I'm telling on a broader perspective. So if you are engineer and good at English, don't take me wrong. So that the reason for that might be that we might not have read that much in our life, other than the academic reading. So if you are in that boat, then you should consider reading books, newspapers, or newspaper articles on topics that are relevant to CAT, so that it will help out in your understanding of such topics when you are doing reading comprehension. The first thing that I would do when you are starting your preparation is take a mock test. Like if you are just starting out and you have no preparation, take a mock test. And even if you have started your preparation, that's fine. Take it now if you haven't already. The first mock test helps you figure out what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. Suppose say you get 50 each in maths and quant, and you only get like 10 or 20 in English. That will help you figure out that, okay, I'm good at maths and reasoning, but I'm not good at English. So once you make that distinction between sections, it's not as distinctive every time. It can also be like 40 30 30 or 40 30 20, but you will see that you are slightly doing better in some sections than the others. And once you figure that out, and then you can start working more on the sections that you feel you are weak in. Not just the sections as well, even within a section there will be topics that you are weak in and topics that you are doing well. Suppose say there is an engineer, he will be good at science related paragraphs. For non-engineers, they'll be good at paragraphs on humanities. So there will be that distinction, and you can overcome that by reading things on those particular topics, so that you get better at understanding such topics. And another thing I would say is take coaching if it's possible. If you can't attend classes, there are self preparation modules as well. That's also fine. And if money is an issue and you find that some are more expensive, you can always find resources that are within your budget. uh, and I would recommend you to find resources, be it either free resources or paid resources, for three things: for practicing, for theory, where you can build your basics, and also mock tests. And one final thing I would say is, you don't necessarily have to know the right answer every time. You can also, if you don't know, you can also use process of elimination to eliminate three wrong answers and go with the remaining one. So since they have a very huge supply of engineers that are wanting to come in, they, just because 75% engineers are taking the test, they can't fill their class up with 75% of engineers, because that would affect their diversity. The purpose of an MBA class is to have diversity in, not only in like background, and not only in gender but also in terms of background. It's a good MBA class if it consists of say half engineers and half non-engineers, like finance background, art background, humanities, etc. So that is one of the reasons you can say that they prefer non-engineers more. It's not that it's not in terms of the numbers, but in terms of number of people applying and number of people getting in. So if you are a non-engineer, you have a better chance of getting in than an engineer. So I think what I would say is, first ask yourself why you want to do an MBA now. Find that motivation behind it and use that as a fuel for your preparation. Or else you would end up doing some preparation here and some preparation there, and then forget about it for a period of time, and then that repeats to no avail. And you need to be determined and regular. If you don't follow a routine, it's really easy to get off track with the amount of distractions that we have to get off track these days. And that keeps you from being consistent and with your preparation. And believe me, this is one of the red flags for your CAT preparation, because you need to have that consistency for the test, or else the results won't come. And another thing that stops people from getting their scores high is, sometimes a lot of silly mistakes happen. And those happen now, but if you put in enough time and practice and um, develop your basics, and trust me, that will go away when your final exam comes. And as I mentioned about mock tests before, I'll reiterate on that. So mock tests and learning from your mistakes is a great way to improve your score. Even if you get to 99 with preparation, just preparation alone can't get you above that. If you want to go even further beyond that, you need to take as many mock tests as you can, because that will help you get used to the concept of test taking. And when the final exam comes, you won't be nervous anymore, because it will be like any other test. And what happens in learning from mistakes is that once you make a mistake in a particular topic or a concept, then and you revise that, when the same question comes again in another test, you will be you will not make that mistake again. So that's a good way to improve your score. And take each mock test as if it's a main exam. Don't take any of them lightly. They are your best friends. And I think the common mistakes that people may make are not maintaining this consistency and not maintaining an error log from your mock tests, and also looking for shortcuts to do well. But that won't work out. You need to trust the process. Maybe a few days before the exam, stick to basic foods. Don't eat anything that will affect your brain performance. Once your exam is done, it doesn't matter. You can eat whatever you want, and don't try to don't try anything new on your exam day. Keep your routine as normal preparation and be confident, and you will, once you do that, it will feel like any other mock test and there won't be any tension or anxiety for you.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.